The Deadly Operative Grunt Show. Oh, yeah. Hey, this is Nick, aka The Weiler. Here with me today is
Ashley, aka Baby Bear 19.
And today we're doing our whole month actually is anticipation. So, what are we anticipating for the year 2016? So, we're going to start it off with me and what I'm anticipating. And then we're going to go to Brad and then TJ and then Rogue Dreamers. And then also me and you are going to talk a little bit about movies on Friday. So, first off, first one I want to talk about is Battleborn. I'm really excited about this. This is from the makers of Borderlands. I almost lost it there. This is from the makers of Borderlands and Borderlands 2. And so they have their quirky humor, quirky humor in it, and it's kind of animated but not so much cell shaded, which I really like because I think it looks a little bit better, honestly. But the interesting thing about this is that it's kind of set up like a MOBA, but instead of it being mainly focused on multiplayer, it has a single player and it also has a co-op. Just like in Borderlands, where you can go through it either by yourself or with 4 people, you could do the same thing in this. And, obviously, that's the main reason I chose this one instead of there's another game called Overwatch by Blizzard. And it looks really cool, and it's kind of the same premise where it's, you pick your character, and that character has specific special abilities to that character. But Gearbox won me over because they have a single player and a co-op campaign. So this is actually going to have a narrative story. It's actually going to let you go through it. If you want to go through it by yourself, you can go through it by yourself. If you want to do the PvP, then you can do that. And I mean, a lot of shooters are doing that now, where you choose your character, you have special abilities and all that. And I'm really excited about Battleborn. I really hope it gets as much attention as it deserves, because I feel like a lot of people are writing it off as a MOBA, but there aren't any MOBAs out there that you have a campaign in, And granted, the campaign, I mean, even for Borderlands, is never that much, complicated as go over here, shoot a bunch of guys, go over here, shoot a bunch of guys. But it's obviously, the characters like Scooter and Roland and stuff like that add character to the narrative. So yes, we will only go from one objective to another and do that. But I mean, what makes that really interesting is that instead of leveling up an overall character, you level up during that particular mission. So what's kind of cool about that is that, like, in a 20-minute time frame, I can go through and experience the full breadth of this character, and that can really give me a good idea of, okay, do I like this character? Do I want to keep at it, or do I want to try the other 26 characters? Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. And so, I mean, like, I saw an interview with Randy Pitchford, and he put it a really good way that basically, like, if you're going through Borderlands and you got to this one mission, you're like, oh, I wish I was Lilith, but I'm, Axon or whatever. Axel? Okay. I don't, Axon or Axel, I don't know. Anyways, but it's like you get to this one mission and you're like, I wish I was this person. And it's like, well, now you can choose your person based on the mission, based on, what you're going to be fighting against, stuff like that. And it's really cool, because then I think it just opens up a lot more depth, because they also have a helix where, I can level up the left side, or I can level up the right side of the helix, or I can mix and match. Right. And then I think you get to there is an overall level that you I think it's called your command level or something like that. And so that's your overall level, and you get to a certain point, and then you'll have 3 choices. so then the possibilities open up even more, and yeah, just the millions of combinations we can do. The characters, I mean, I think they did a badass by numbers, and there's like millions of combinations you can have.
Right.
So it just, and the replayability is going to be really cool because it's like I might really like this mission, and so I want to do it over and over again, but I want to try it with different characters. So really excited.
Are the enemies random at different times, or is it a set for where the enemies are? You're always going to have those same enemies, because that's the one thing I found in Borderlands, that when you came across a certain area, you knew you were going to have this enemy you were going to have to fight. Some of it was a little bit random, but for the most part, it seemed like it was a set where all the enemies were going to be. Is like this going to be kind of like the same, or
dang it, buddy? Sorry. That's a really good question. I'm gonna have to do some research on that, but I hope so. I really do, because I think that would be the one thing that would get a little bit old. What I hope they do is, on this mission, here's like a set number of enemies you could have, and they randomize it.
right?
And then maybe even throw in a legendary here and there. I'm hoping that's what they do, because you bring up a really, really good point. Because even if I play through the exact same mission, but with all 26 characters, it's going to get old because I know what to expect.
Right.
So that's a really good point, and I hope that they randomize it in some ways. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, then moving on to another one, Vermintide for the PlayStation 4. This is actually already out on the PC. I don't know if they're still doing early access or beta, but it is already out technically on the PC. But I saw this and my mind went directly to Left 4 Dead. And actually, that's what inspired them to make this game. They wanted to make a game just like Left 4 Dead, but it's in the Warhammer universe. And I really like the Warhammer lore. I like Warhammer 40k a little bit more, but this is really cool. And who knows, if this does really good, maybe we'll get Warhammer 40k. But it's really cool. So instead of zombies, like in Left 4 Dead, you now have like rats. They're like humanoid rats. So they're on their hind legs and they're coming towards you. But you also have all the same kind of enemy types. You have like, one of them throws out a poison gas cloud, so it's kind of like the smoker. One, he has like brass knuckles on, but it's almost like Wolverine claws, and he'll jump on you, so it's like the leaper. I'm pretty sure there's a suicider. I can't remember what they call it or whatever. And then there's like a big tank one where it's like all hulked out, and then there's like a Gatling gun.
Oh, jeez.
Or I think they called it a rattling gun or something like that. And so the cool thing about this is that, you know, like in Left 4 Dead, they randomize your encounters. But in this one, what's really gonna make it replayable is that instead of just randomizing the enemies, it's also randomizing objectives.
Oh, wow.
So that's gonna be really fun. So I could literally play, it's basically like playing on a map rather than on a mission. I think the overall mission stays the same depending on what map you're on, but the objectives can change. And that will make it replayable. So Left 4 Dead randomized enough. Sometimes your pile of guns would be over here, and the enemies. But now having objectives change as well, it's like, it just adds another level of replayability. And so...
Yeah.
I mean, you have your long distance, like there's a bow and arrow, there's one guy who like dual wields, I think one guy has the shotgun, you know, so it's class based, which you didn't really have in Left 4 Dead, but it just looks really cool.
Awesome. Is it gonna be multiplayer, split screen, single? Is it just gonna be a single player first person shooter?
Oh, it's like Left 4 Dead where it is 4 players. I hope it's split screen. Because you can't make a Left 4 Dead clone and not have split screen.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember what game it is. It's going to bug me. Payday. I love Payday. And it has a lot of Left 4 Dead in its DNA. But you cannot split screen it.
Right.
I remember playing that and thinking, you know, Ashley would really, really like this, and I wish I could play with her, but we didn't have the split screen capability. So, yeah, I'm just super excited for that. Sorry, cut that. Okay, and the last one for me is Uncharted: A Thief's End. So you remember that feeling when you play a game and you're like, there's no possible way that the graphics can get any better than this. Like, this is the pinnacle of all graphics. Well, that's, oh my god, seeing just the first glance that we got of Uncharted 4, ever since then, I was just like drooling, and I cannot wait for this. And I mean, I love the entire Drake's trilogy, and I can't wait to see what they do next. You know, and I hope they bring back like co-op. And we actually played multiplayer together, so I hope they bring that back in a fun. I know they have multiplayer, but I hope they bring it back and they make it even better. Because there was like little things that were off about it, like your aiming wasn't. It never seemed like right on.
Yeah.
Like switching from here to zooming in, sometimes like your cursor would move magically, and so hopefully they fix that. But as far as a single player, like the story just looks phenomenal, and adding in the fact that his, you know, big brother comes essentially back from the dead, um, I think adds a good level of depth to it that we haven't seen before. Because otherwise it would be him, Elena, and Sully all over again. So
Right.
adding a new character,
It's kind of nice.
you know, I hopefully that will add enough to the narrative. I mean, now you have a reason to like keep going instead of like just your friends or whatever. It's like now you have family, you know. So real quick before we move on to our viewers, is there anything you're particularly looking forward to in 2016?
Definitely Ratchet and Clank,
Oh yeah,
the
definitely.
new game. It's been a while, it feels like, since they had the other ones,
Mhm.
and it'll definitely be fun and interesting to see how they do this one. Same fun quirkiness with all the different guns and hundreds of different ways to do stuff, so
Yeah.
it'll definitely be fun.
All right, so now we're gonna move on to our viewers. So obviously, I've been going on Facebook, you know, hey, what's your most anticipated this and that, and so I got a lot of answers for this. So not everybody who commented is gonna be here because I chose 5 basically. So if you hear your name, you get a total of 5 more entries into our drawing. So Lexi McDonald, Pokemon Tournament comes out March, I believe, and Zelda Wii U delayed because of Nintendo X, which makes
Yeah.
sense. You can't put out a Zelda when you know. I think they're gonna try to do something like Twilight Princess, where it came out on the GameCube and on the Wii. So they're probably gonna do something like that.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We have, sorry if I butcher your name, Matthew P. Dykeman. I'm guessing. Sorry about that. Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts 3, and Twilight Princess HD. I honestly didn't know they were coming out with Twilight Princess HD, so that's news to me. I don't follow Nintendo too much. I need the system to be able to follow it. I definitely have to agree with Final Fantasy 15. I actually commented on this guy and I said that it was a really good choice and that I almost bought Final Fantasy like Type 0 or something like that just to get the demo for this because the demo looks so cool. And from what I heard, you could spend hours in the demo
That's cool.
just because like it basically give you this big couple of square miles to goof around in. So Brendan McDonald, short but sweet, Star Fox Zero, exclamation point. Burp. Samuel Thomas, Uncharted 4, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, No Man's Sky, and Dreams. No Man's Sky, I almost wanted to put that on, but I had to give it to Uncharted 4 because it's Uncharted, and I just, yeah, so that was almost on my list, and I guess it'll be an honorable mention now. The next one, Holly
H. K.
K. We're going to say K. Holly K. because I don't want to butcher that, and I will. The Last Guardian. It's been in production for how long? Others I'm excited for are Zelda U, Pokken, which I think that's Pokemon, but I don't know. Pokken, Fire Emblem Fates, Kingdom Hearts 3, Twilight Princess HD. This is a second person, so it's confirmed. Twilight Princess HD is apparently a thing. Already pre-ordered it with Amiibo. And the Final Fantasy VII Remake because I never had a chance to play the original. So I'm going to say it right now. If you haven't played the original, I believe it's on the PlayStation 4 now, and it's only like $15. Obviously, it's really bad graphics, but you should definitely give it a try. The only thing I have to say about Final Fantasy VII, the remake, is they're splitting it up into episodes, and I don't know why. The first one was split up into discs, so like, are we expecting 3 episodes? And the reason behind it is absolutely idiotic. The reason that their publishers gave it, you know, they're trying to put a spin on it. The reason they gave it is that to recreate Final Fantasy VII in a 3D plane or whatever, it would be too big for just one game, you know, and they're going to give us extra content and yada, yada, yada. So what you're saying is that Final Fantasy VII, which came out over 10 years ago, you're saying that that game is bigger than Final Fantasy 15 or bigger than Final Fantasy 13? Or let's even go back to PlayStation 2 era. So let's go Final Fantasy 12. You know, you're saying that it's bigger than that? I doubt it. Now, I want them to do a faithful remake of it. Yeah. Obviously, they're going to change stuff, and I'm okay with that. But to say that they couldn't fit it, you know, I feel like they just want to get more money from us. And I mean, maybe that's just my cynical post-Battlefront thinking. But I mean, that's just what I'm going to say. All right, so then last of all, Seidel. I always butcher it, and she said it was close enough, so thank you. We got another No Man's Sky, also pretty hyped for Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy VII Episode 1, so she knows it's episodic, and Horizon. I'm assuming you mean Horizon Zero Dawn, and if that's what you mean, hell yes. I am super excited for Horizon Zero Dawn. It's by Guerrilla, which does the Killzone franchise. But now it's going to be an open world. It's set like hundreds of years in the future. And there's like robot dinosaurs.
Nice.
And there's a female protagonist. So I like it when they can have a female protagonist and it doesn't seem shoehorned, or it doesn't seem like they're trying to or they're not trying to just put a woman in because, oh, look, someone's sexy. And she looks like a badass. She looks like she knows how to hold her own and everything. And that was the last of our viewers. So thank you for putting in your comments. We have to get going because we have a wiggle worm. Yes. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Look at that smile. All right, so thank you for all your input. Thank you for all your support. Our next one up is our movies, but we're actually doing it two-parter. Our nerd movie anticipation. So the ones that the nerds should be anticipating for 2016. We're gonna do 2 parts. We're gonna do 2 parts. Ashley's gonna come back and talk about a couple of Marvel movies. And then after that, we're going to PC Purebred with Brad, and he's going to talk about on the PC side of things. And then part 2 and so all month, just anticipation. So just like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And so I am Nick, aka The Weiler, and
Ashley, aka BabyBear19.
And this is the Deadly Operative Grunts, and we're feeling squirrely. Hey, this is Nick, aka The Weiler, and with me today is
Ashley, aka BabyBear19.
We can do that again if you have any follow-up questions.
Well, all the questions I had, you answered.
Oh, really?
Are the characters... Sorry.
You don't have to pause that long.
I'm thinking of the question. I'm thinking of the word. I know I don't have to pause that long. You ready?
Yes. Okay. All right, and so the last one for me personally is Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Or not Drake's Fortune. Take Two.